Told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly. We get it bouncing like Betty's, I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli. It's leaving I levy, no sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do, hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan, you just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit up my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to today's stream. We've got some Monday Night Football action coming at you. New York Giants, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ben, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling good. This is going to be an interesting one. Hopefully it's a close game, but yeah, going to be an interesting game. We'll have to see the Bucs if they can come out hot. I don't think they've won a game in about a month, Nick.
Yeah, it's been a while. The Bucs are actually on a 2-game losing streak. They've lost to the Washington Football Team and the New Orleans Saints in their last 2 games. So just in case anybody was wondering about the audio quality, Ben left his laptop in a car that he does not have access to right now.
Yeah, we're going to have to do like we did back in the 2018s.
Mm-hmm. So he's operating with the phone cam right now. And no access to any other screens. So Ben is operating completely blind as far as doing any research, looking at any lines, but we are still glad to have him.
It's all in that brain of mine.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll be taking up some extra responsibilities on that end. So you know what's interesting?
Yeah, I literally can't see anything anyone's typing in the chat. So this is a good time to get it off your chest if you want to talk some bad words about me.
Yeah, if you want to talk some shit about Ben, now's the time to do so.
I'll get back on the replay.
Yeah.
Geez, guys.
I hate Ben.
The roast.
Yeah, that's the roast to end all roasts. So you know what's interesting is if it feels like we've had these teams on these primetime streams a lot this year, it's because we have. For both of these teams, this is the 3rd time already this year that we've had them on a Thursday or Monday night stream. I have no idea what our records are on those games. I have no idea what these teams' records are in those games, but I just thought it was kind of interesting that for both of these teams, they've been featured so much in these primetime spots.
In primetime Monday, Thursday.
Yeah, just Monday, Thursday. So that doesn't even mention the fact that the Bucs have had at least one Sunday night game also.
Yeah.
They just love to put Tom Brady in the prime time.
Kind of interesting, the Giants getting a lot of primetime love.
I mean, it's New York, and it's not the Jets. So I think that it makes some sense.
Yeah, and then they're waiting for the second coming of Daniel Jones. Actually, maybe the first coming.
I kind of think the second coming of Daniel Jones, spoiler alert, is going to happen tonight. But we'll touch on that when we hit the prop market. But before we get into anything, I want to run through the injury reports for this game. So the Giants have been much maligned with injuries, but are getting some important players back today. Most notably, Saquon Barkley, finally coming off of injured reserve and is starting today. He had a full week of practice this week, so I'm not expecting any kind of crazy workload issues for him. Effectiveness against this Bucs run defense is an entirely different question. But Saquon does seem to be mostly healthy. Sterling Shepard is out for the Giants. Their left tackle, Andrew Thomas, is also back. He's been on IR since week 6 when he left that game with an ankle injury. He is back and starting at left tackle tonight. So Daniel Jones getting 2 pretty big boosts on the offense in the form of the number one running back and the number one left tackle, both coming back from injury. On the Buccaneers side, Antonio Brown is out once again for God knows what reason. I don't know if it's because just of the fake vaccination card issue or if he's also hurt or what, but he's not playing.
The best was Arians is like, they asked him about that and he was like, I don't know why he would ever do something like that.
So you know what I love? You know, how he wanted to be called Mr. Big Chest, and then people make all kinds of NBC memes like Mr. and then a different word that starts with B and a different word that starts with C. So I see people calling him Mr. Bogus Card.
Oh, nice.
So Mr. Bogus Card is out tonight. Also out, very importantly, is Vita Vea. I believe he got hurt on the last defensive play of the game last week. He is their nose tackle, excellent run defender, and he is out for tonight's game. Are we doing a Wednesday stream for Thursday games? Asks Big Germ in the chat. We're going to do a Thursday stream for the Thursday games, I believe. That's what we did last year, at least. We haven't talked about it. I kind of just assumed that that's what we were doing.
Yeah, we'll probably do it. And if I can't make it for any reason,
I'll just do it by myself.
You got it.
Yeah.
I might be traveling, but an hour.
Yeah, we'll see. And we will let everybody know ahead of time exactly what the plan is.
Yeah, there's going to be some ugly football games.
What, you mean you're not excited to watch the Lions play?
And Andy Dalton. Who the Packers have? The Packers don't. What's the third game?
I don't know. So, I mean, it's the Cowboys playing somebody and the Lions playing somebody. And the third game on...
Okay, it might be the Bears and someone, because I know the Bears play. See, you could just lie to me right now.
No, I'm looking it up. Know. It's the Lions and the Bears. Oh my. Raiders and Cowboys, Bills and Saints are the three games.
Bills and Saints maybe good, but
yeah, we'll see. But that's that. Oh, yeah, so we'll keep everybody updated as far as Thanksgiving is concerned. Also, thank you, Nish and Chips, for the follow and the Prime subscription. Appreciate all of that very, very much. Enjoy your new Capwise lock. Beautiful, professionally made emote. Bam. There it is. That's what it looks like.
I even could just see it through the screen.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about tonight's game a little bit. Again, Giants and Bucks. Bucks 11.5-point favorites at home. Over under set at 50. Both of these numbers are varying slightly depending on the books. So we see this 11.5 and 50 at PointsBet. DraftKings has the same set of numbers, Bucks minus 11.5 and a total of 50. Superbook has a total of 11. Or not a total of 11. That would be a really low total. Have a spread of 11 and a total of 49.5. And then FanDuel has 11.5 from the Bucks and a total of 49.5. So you can shop around a little bit depending on what side you like on these numbers. And get a half a point here, half a point there. The model, though, has a pretty strong opinion on this game. And it likes the Giants to cover. So the model has a score, an average score of 26.32 for the Bucks, 21.92 for the Giants. So it's a spread of about 4.5 as opposed to the 11.5 that we're seeing from Vegas. So the model loves the Giants to cover. Also, a slight underlean from the model here. We've got a total of a little bit over 47 points compared to the Vegas total, 49.5 or 50, depending on the book that you look at. But Ben, do you agree with the model here? Do you disagree with the model? What are your thoughts?
I agree with one of those picks.
And which one is that?
I want to take a stab. Take a stab.
I think that you like the Giants to cover.
I do. I like the Giants to cover, but I think this is going to go over, but slightly. And the biggest reason I would say is I do think that the Giants can put up some points in this one, and I think the Bucks are going to. So I do like it to go over, I'm thinking a score of like 31-24 is what I'm gonna go with for tonight. So a little more scoring.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all either. We've seen the Bucks go over quite a bit. So actually, the Buccaneers. I have some against the spread and total numbers here for both of these teams. So the Buccaneers 3-6 against the spread, which is not very good. Giants 5-4 against the spread. So just following those trends for whatever they mean, which is probably not much. But the Giants do look like the play from that perspective. Total-wise, Buccaneers have had 5 games go over versus 4 going under. Giants have had 3 overs, 5 unders, and 1 total push. That being said, I like the Giants here. Big Germ says I'm with Ben. Giants cover and the over. I'm not touching the total here, but I really like the Giants. I think that's my play here.
I hope I'm not putting too much stock into Andrew Thomas and Saquon, and actually the receiving core is probably the healthiest it's been, right?
Yeah, the receiving core is the healthiest it's been in a while, and I've got some fun stats to go through on both sides when we get to the player prop market. But what I think is really interesting is actually the Buccaneers, without Antonio Brown, have really struggled this year. And I think Antonio Brown is kind of secretly a really important piece on this offense. It doesn't get talked about how important he is. So with Antonio Brown playing, the Buccaneers are 5-0 straight up. And since they're 6-3 overall, what does that mean when Antonio Brown does not play? They're 1-3. And they've lost to some bad teams. That was the loss to Washington, a loss to New Orleans, a loss to the LA Rams, and the one win in there was just a win against Chicago. So
Nick, what about this? What's the record when Gronk and Brown are out?
I didn't look into that. They're 2-2 when Gronk plays, which means that they're 4-1 without Gronk. I don't know exactly what the overlap looks like.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, so Nish and Chips says, I've got Bucks cover and the over. So we're completely on opposite sides there. You're aligned with what looks like everybody else, though, on the total at least. Definite backdoor cover territory, especially with this spread at a big number like 11.5, and a Giants offense that is not necessarily the most explosive, but is at least competent at moving the ball. So definite backdoor cover territory. I completely agree with you there. I'm not expecting to see anything as crazy as last night, though. In that Steelers-Chargers game.
Yeah, that was one of those games where if you just turned on the game with like 5 minutes left, you caught 99% of the action. It's crazy. That's
like the announcers were talking about that during the game. It's like usually this is where we'd say, like, if you're just tuning in, and then we give a recap. Yeah. But tonight, I'd say, if you're just tuning in and you want a recap, nope.
The funniest thing about that is the live total at one point was like 51 with like 6 minutes left, and then I think it ended, 60, 70 points?
Yeah, I think it's like points? 65 or 70 in that vicinity.
Justin Herbert.
I mean, and the Steelers' defense and special teams blocked punt.
Yeah, that was big. That was big block punt.
Big play on. And
then they stopped them. Well, pick, block punt, interception, stopped it on 4th down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Steelers played quite well.
They did, yeah.
Last night, I think those two divisions, the AFC East, not the AFC East, the AFC North and the AFC West, probably the best 2 divisions in football.
Yeah, top to bottom.
There's not a team with a losing record across the 2 divisions.
That's crazy. Shout out Broncos.
Yeah. Very close to ruining the no losing records component, but
well,
they're holding on.
It's a lot of football left, guys.
Yeah, they'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that more or less covers the game. I think that the player prop market, the discussion that we have there, will really help to go into more detail as to exactly why we like the sides and totals that we like.
How are we doing on time, Nick?
How are we doing on time? It is 5:30. And again, for anybody tuning in, Ben is just operating with one phone as his only screen.
This is our new theme.
This Discord video chat is occupying that screen.
This is intentional. This shows that it has to be raw off the top.
Mm-hmm.
What if this was actually like a big hit and people are like, yeah, we kind of like it when Ben doesn't have a screen because it's more organic and it's just more off the top?
Yeah, so actually what we're doing for Thanksgiving is in order to show our thanks for modern technology, we're gonna have a telegraph wire between where Ben lives and where I live, and that's how we're gonna communicate on this stream. We're gonna send telegraphs back and forth to each other, and then read them out loud for you.
Or we could just have our dogs like go from house to house with messages.
True,
that'd be funny.
We could do that also.
I think Whiskey is saying lines money line, and I'll be like,
no.
No.
I mean, maybe Whiskey's onto something.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, we know that Rango is a good handicapper.
Yeah, Rango was he finished 12th out of 49 people last year.
Uh-huh.
Went 4-1 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, so Ian says Trent is on the Giants.
No, pack our bags and.
No, we're the good luck charm for Trent.
That is true. When Trent and I are on the same sides, we do well. And I even hop in his live stream sometimes, and it's funny because random people hop in and they're like, "I'm fading all these," and I'm like, Trent did get some of these from other people. Like Gonzaga against whoever they played, Bellarmine. They killed him. That was one of my picks. And then a guy was like, Bellarmine lock. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, Bellarmine plays UCLA tonight. That's going to be an interesting game.
Nick, Bellarmine is literally playing the toughest schools this year because they can't make the tournament this year.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the strategy. Like, fuck it,
Yeah, no, I mean, the players will be better for it.
Yeah, exactly. So Giants. Trent likes the Giants. That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine being on the same side as Trent.
I hate his reasoning. It goes 11 points. I don't care who's playing. Too many points.
Oh yeah.
And then he does this little.
I hate that reasoning also.
Yeah, that's. You're like, okay, never mind. But no, we're not going to be cursed by that.
We liked the Giants before Trent liked the Giants.
That's true. Since Tuesday or Wednesday, so.
Mm-hmm. And Big Jam says, my thoughts on prop players for returning players is to stay away from them, and the players who've been playing do not know how return players will perform and the effect it will have on the other players. So you're just advocating staying away from everybody, or only playing stuff with the players who have been playing.
Like not OBJ over last week.
Yeah, that was a.
I agree. I get what you're saying because people try to overthink it, right? And then
I mean, it's just uncertainty. You can't think.
Yeah,
you're playing a guessing game.
Yeah, you get lucky. You seem like you're a wise guy, but if you miss, you look like an idiot. So I get what you're saying there. Yeah.
So staying away from the Giants players, he says. So speaking of Giants players, we got Daniel Jones over under 253.5 passing yards. Tom Brady, not a Giant player, but a guy with a Giant resume. Over under 301.5 passing yards.
Oh, jeez.
So there's one of these that I like quite a bit, and that is the Tom Brady under 301.5.
I like it too.
And I really think that it has to do with I mean everything, as stupid as that is to say. But Antonio Brown is out. Tom Brady has not been playing all that well without Antonio Brown. I mean, last week, 220. He did have 375 in that loss to New Orleans. But then 211 in the game against Chicago the last 3 weeks. And the Giants, their pass D has not allowed a 300-yard passer since Dak had 302 in week 5. Which is like barely over. And the only other 300-yard passer they've allowed this year was Taylor Heineke back in week 2. So I think Tom Brady's a little cold. I think the Giants' pass D has been a decent bend but don't break operation. I think that this 301.5 number is just a little bit too high.
Nick, can you take a look at completions and attempts and while I get to this point about Brady? And I'm with you. I think this game, especially the way Brady's been playing, I think they're going to try to get him comfortable, and I think he's going to have an okay day passing the ball. I just don't think it's going to show up in the yard perspective. I could see him having a game where he goes like 25 for 35, which would be a decent game. But I think he's going to go under. I do agree. And if they get a lead, they're going to try to get the ball to Fournette, and they're going to try to milk the clock. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah, that's actually the one kind of thing that scares me is the potential for the Giants to actually just be in the lead in this game.
And then you're in trouble.
And then you can be in trouble. So completion number for Tom Brady, 27.5. I'm not showing, at least on DraftKings, a pass attempt number. I'm sure another book has it. I'm not going to go navigate to it right now.
All right.
So what about this?
Again, I was just going to say, I could see him going over his completions and still going under yards, if that makes sense. Just kind of based on who's out, who's going to be on the field, and just his performance the last few weeks. But Daniel Jones, Nick, I like the over here.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well. I think that this over 253.5 is a good look on Daniel Jones. And I think that it really boils down to the fact that there's so many players coming back that are really going to help him out. So the left tackle, Andrew Thomas, again, even if he's not 100%, it's going to be an upgrade for the offensive line. He had a much maligned rookie season last year, but he had been looking much better through the first 6 weeks this year. And then Saquon Barkley also being back is huge for Daniel Jones. So I want to run through a couple numbers here for Jones. So again, Ezekiel Elliott got hurt in Week 5. Daniel Jones actually also got hurt in that Week 5 game. So he only played a half of football. In the 4 games before that, this is with a healthy Saquon Barkley, a healthy Andrew Thomas. Daniel Jones, the lowest number of passing yards he had in a game was 249. In the 4 games since then, with no Andrew Thomas, no Saquon Barkley, the highest number of passing yards he's had in a game is 242. So literally every game of those first 4 was higher than every game of these most recent 4.
Wow. I think this is one that's game flow independent to some aspect, because let's say the Giants get up to a lead and they play really well. He could fly over this number, by the end of the game. And what we're expecting is the opposite. Bucks are probably going to be up, and then I feel just as good, right? I think Daniel Jones with his weapons and Thomas back, they're in a good position for Jones to have a good game from the yardage perspective.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what I really like also about calling this comfortably a game flow independent play is the game that the Giants had against the Saints earlier this year. So the Saints, much like the Buccaneers, are a really, really difficult team to run the ball against. Saints are the toughest run D in the league. Yards per carry wise, Buccaneers are right up there as well. And what did we see in the game against the Saints? We saw that despite it being a game that the Giants actually eventually ended up winning, Daniel Jones threw the ball 40 times. Joe Judge is not stupid. He's not going to do some stupid John Gruden shit where he decides to run the ball 20 times, even if it's going to be 2 yards each time.
Establish the run.
Yeah, he's not going to SpongeBob establish the run, right? Yeah. He's not going to do that. He's going to do what's effective. He's going to let Daniel Jones use the checkdowns, use the tight ends as a substitute for the running game to keep the defense honest in that perspective. So I think that, like Ben said, kind of regardless of if the Giants are up or down, I think that Daniel Jones is still going to be airing the ball out, and I think that the over 253.5 is a good look. And Boston Bruins fan 22, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that very much.
Go Bruins.
Disagree, but
Yeah, big Boston Bruins guy here.
yeah, big Bruins guy. I'm a Caps fan. If I go like this, you can see a red sign over my shoulder that says Washington Capitals. So that's where I'm at. I have nothing against the Bruins.
What team do you dislike the most in hockey?
The Pittsburgh Penguins by a mile.
Wow, that's what I was going to guess that.
And then many, many more miles after that mile. I'm actually happy now. I can hate the Penguins again. I had a good friend who worked in their front office. So I kind of like rooting against the Penguins was rooting against his job security. So
Yeah.
So I kind of felt bad, but he doesn't work for them anymore. He works for the Buffalo Sabres now.
That's kind of,
So.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, man, if they're really going to put that much weight on that, unless he was like directly responsible.
No, I mean
he's not out there trying to save goals.
He's the number 3 guy in the front office now for the.
Okay, he's up there
for the Sabres.
Nice.
So yeah, he's actually got responsibilities. But yeah. Anyways, tangents aside, Daniel Jones over, Tom Brady under is where we're at on these passing yard props. So let's take a peek. Oh, actually, I'm going to read some comments because Ben can't read them, and since I should read them out loud anyways.
I'm blind.
Big Jim says I like under 2.5 passing touchdowns for Brady. It's at plus money.
Oh, that's not a bad look.
No, I don't think that's a bad look at all. I'm showing that at minus 135 on DraftKings, so definitely not plus money. But I actually do think that I would lean the under there.
Maybe he has another player. But.
Yeah. And then Larry says, sorry I'm late. Kid's birthday and funeral tomorrow, so semi-busy. I mean, that's some exciting news and some not so exciting news. But thank you, Larry, for tuning in. Always make an effort to. We appreciate that very much, regardless of what's going on. Yeah, you're here. I know. You commented. Can see you. Happy. Tell your kids or your kid that we say happy birthday, and they'll be like, "Who?" All right, so let's take a look at some rushing props. So, is there a team that you'd like to start with?
Yeah, I'm curious what the Giants and Saquon's at.
Yeah, I think these are much more interesting. So we've got Daniel Jones over under 22.5 rushing yards. Devontae Booker 16.5. Saquon Barkley 43.5.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, my initial thoughts under. Like, I mean, we got him returning off an injury, and we have a really good run defense. What am I missing here?
So the thing that you're missing is the big injury on the Bucs defensive line. Oh yeah, you have your AirPods in, so you can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the thing that you're missing is the big injury on the Bucs defensive line. Vita Vea is out. And Vita Vea might be the single best interior defensive lineman run defender in the league. And he's not playing.
Yeah, that's probably why the number's a little higher. But still, if we go back to Broncos Giants, Nick, week 1, right? Opening game of the season. Barkley had how many rushes? Had it been around 8, right?
Saquon Barkley in week 1 had 10 for 26 yards.
Okay, so 10. Because I'm expecting something similar. I don't think he gets 15 carries tonight. I don't.
No,
I really don't, Nick.
I don't think he does either.
And I'm spacing it. They've had so many damn running backs.
Devontae Booker.
Yeah, it's Booker. I was almost going to say Devontae Freeman. Devontae Booker. He actually has not been. He has not been terrible. I mean, he hasn't been great, but
yeah. So the concern with Booker is that he was actually also questionable, like legitimately questionable, coming into this game. And I think that with both of these guys, I mean, Barkley coming off the injury, this is his first game back, and Booker losing a lot of timeshare, but still having performed fairly well, and with injury concerns of his own, there's really legitimate questions as to who's going to get carries and how many of them they're going to get. So from that perspective, it's really hard to endorse either of these running backs over rushing yards, despite the numbers looking low and despite Vita Vea being out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would confidently say it's either a fade or look at the under.
Yeah, I think
it's an OBJ situation. Like, I literally feel like this is deja vu. When I got on here and I said, "Hey, OBJ, just please do not play any of his overs in first catch of the game." but in my head, I'm like, that's okay, because it was, the first drives are usually planned in practice and scripted. They already know what plays they're running. So that would be my advice here.
Yeah, so what about Daniel Jones, though, as the other guy? So his rushing prop again set at 22.5. The Buccaneers, the last few weeks, have allowed quarterbacks to run the ball against them a fair amount. So Jalen Hurts on the Eagles back in Week 6, 10 carries for 44 yards. Week 7, Justin Fields, 8 for 38. Week 9, Jameis Winston in the game where he got hurt, and Trevor Siemian then came in, had 4 carries for 40 yards. And last week, Taylor Heineke had 3 for 15. So we're seeing some quarterbacks.
What about Trevor Siemian? 2 for -2.
Trevor Siemian had 2 for 2.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But we've seen some guys have some success. Some quarterbacks have some success running the ball against the Buccaneers.
Let's see if Daniel Jones can do what Justin Herbert did last night.
Yeah,
jeez, that was I think he had 80.
Yeah,
80
he had a lot of rushing yards last night.
Nick, I'm right on the fence on this one. I can't give a confident opinion.
Yeah,
I'm curious what you have.
So I'm kind of with you. I think
I lean over, but
I lean over. I think the play that I'd make, though, is actually the rushing plus receiving, not rushing plus receiving, rushing plus passing for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, if he breaks a few.
Yeah. So if you go and look at that, that is sitting at where is it? 280.5. So you're paying a 4-yard tax, 4.5-yard tax to add the two together. But I think that's pretty reasonable. I think.
Yeah, especially because I think the variance on the rushing could be like he has a high ceiling on his rushing yards, I'd say. Like,
yeah,
if he rushed for 55, 60, I think he could do that every 4 games against this offense or defense with him in this offense. He also could have 20. So that way you're kind of. I think a 4-yard tax on that is that's fine.
Yeah. Big Jim says Tom Brady rush yards over. So that's an interesting.
Was that 1.5?
No, it's at 1 under that.
It's a half.
It's at a half a yard.
Yeah, you got the kneels to worry about.
Yeah, I played a Tom Brady rushing over once this year, and it hit, and I'm happy with that. and I'm not looking back. I'm gonna take my 100% win rate on Tom Brady rushing overs and never bet one again.
Imagine going to a bar and like people have all their bets. Say, "Oh yeah, I got the over. Oh yeah, I'm on first half under," and then you're just like, "I got Tom Brady under a half." Good.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. Boston Bruins fan says Jonathan Taylor had a lot of rushing yards yesterday for the Colts. Yes, Jonathan Taylor had one of the best games a running back has ever had. Full stop.
Yeah, top 5. I think it ended up at.
Yeah, if you rank them by fantasy points in standard scoring, Jonathan Taylor had a top 5 or 6 day ever. in
The
history of
announcers
the
were
NFL.
so hyped up that when there was a rush by Hines, they just figured it was Taylor. They're like Taylor again. Hines. Funny.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, our Needles, you are right. So Tom Brady rush over has hit all but 2 times this year. It's scary because there's been a couple other times where it's been so close to not hitting. There's just been a lot of close calls. I mean, so he had 0 carries for 0 yards twice, but he's also had a game with 1 yard, 2 games with 2 yards, and a game with 3 yards.
It's hard to find value in something like that. Like, I get that it's maybe a good trend, but it just seems like one of those like stats that it's like how much can you really dive into with this other than yes or no?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a tough one. And yeah, it comes down. He could have 3 yards and then he takes a knee. Yeah. I'll be watching for that though. It's always fun to see where he ends up at with that.
Mm-hmm. Velocity 326. I'm making some connections now. Says, why did I get banned in your Discord? Ben, do you like to answer that question?
Well, first of all, I don't know his Discord name.
That would be that Josh 326.
Oh, well. Yeah, I thought his name was Jacob.
Oh, Jacob. Yeah, not Josh.
Well, he can message me. I'll unban him if he wants to talk about it, but we like positivity around here. I'll just put it that way. So,
yeah. So let's take a look at the other rushing props on the Buccaneers side. So we've got Leonard Fournette over under 65.5, and that's it.
Yeah, I was curious what Bernard or Jones would be at, but
I think there's just so much variance in where those guys are at. Mm-hmm. Like Ronald Jones literally didn't get a carry last week.
Yeah, odd. And Bernard, I think, had more snaps, or at least he's been averaging more snaps than Jones the last several games, which is kind of interesting because Jones last year had more of a role, and then
so
kind of been taking a back seat.
Yeah, so Ronald Jones really has a case of the fumbles, which is not good.
Mm.
Oh, it's Giovanni Bernard's birthday today.
Okay, check this out, Nick. I'm down 14 points in fantasy. Guess who I have left playing?
Giovanni Bernard.
Yes, I picked them up off waivers.
Good
it's a
luck.
14-team league for you.
Yeah,
But that birthday news, I like it. I'm feeling good about it now. At least somewhat of a chance. It's still like a 10% chance it's going to hit, but it's a chance. I'll take it.
Yeah, Velocity. We'll DM after the stream, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, and I can't see any of the comments. I don't know if you just hopped in. I only have my phone up right now, so
yeah, we don't need to talk about it on stream.
So Fournette is at 65.
65.5 for Leonard Fournette.
Man, that's a good number. I mean, good as in tight.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I think that 65.5 for Fournette is kind of where it should be. He's had some games where he's been over that, some games where he's been under that. It really actually does feel a little game flow dependent. So in the 2 losses these last 2 weeks, he's had 26 and 47 rushing yards, which is way under. In 2 wins the 2 weeks before, 81 and 81.
Hmm.
And then actually in the 2 wins before that, he was over this number both times also. 20 carries for 92 and then 67. And then in the other loss, 8 yards.
Hmm.
So I think that this is quite game flow dependent. As running back props, rushing props tend to be. There's a huge correlation between game flow and play type.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, even if the Bucks get behind, he might be able to just have enough volume. And of course, if they're up, you got to feel really good about this. If I could look into a crystal ball and say Bucks win by over 7, I'm playing this probably 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, nothing for me there.
All right. So let's move on to receiving props, and we've got about 23 minutes until kickoff, so we're doing good on time. Do you want to? Is there a team that you'd like to start with here, Ben?
Let's start with the team that's going to cover tonight, the Giants.
All right. So we've got Darius Slayton over under 30.5. Devontae Booker 8.5. Evan Ingram 35.5. Kadarius Toney 46.5. Kenny Galladay 53.5. Kyle Rudolph. For some reason, it says Kyle Rudolph receiving yards as the player name, whereas for all the other players, it just says their name. But Kyle Rudolph receiving yard number is 9.5. Saquon Barkley 23.5. So a lot of guys, but no number higher than Kadarius Toney's 46.5.
Let's start there, Nick.
Yeah. So Kadarius Toney.
Oh boy.
There's your Kadarius Toney card.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful card.
I just play the props that I have cards on, and I play their overs. That's all I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have every player we talk about, but I like it, Nick. I like his over. I do.
Yeah. So Toney is interesting. Toney is such a talented receiver, but his role in the offense has fluctuated so much this year. At the beginning of the year, he was like an instant bust before the season started, and like in the first couple of weeks, because he had 2 catches for -2 yards through the first 2 games. And then he suddenly played just like a little bit more in week 3, and then burst onto the scene in weeks 4 and 5. 78 and 189 yards. And then since then, what has he done? Jack shit.
Well, he punched a helmet.
Yeah, he did punch a helmet. Over under 0.5 helmet punches for Kadarius Toney.
Slam that under.
Yes. Are you gonna slam it?
Yeah.
You're
literally.
You're gonna punch that under?
He reminds me of Brandon Ayuk, right? Like he's gone up and down, like different roles in the offense. A little bit of variance with this one, but man, his talent is there. It's just now that the offense is so healthy. But it's a number of what, 49?
47.5.
47.5? I gotta lean with the over, but man, that's
it's tough for me. I mean, he's been bad recently. I mean, the last 3 games, he did get hurt in week 6, where he had 3 catches for 36 yards. That was actually all on the first drive of the game. But in the 2 games since then, 4 for 26 and 1 for 9. Like that's nothing. That's not even close. So it's a little tough for me to endorse a Toney receiving over. There is a guy on the Giants that I like. And that is Evan Ingram.
Ooh, I was gonna guess Kyle Rudolph.
Hey, Rudolph could be a good look too.
That was my second guess was Ingram.
We'll look at both of them. So Evan Ingram's number is at 35.5, and for reference again, Kyle Rudolph's number is at 9.5. This is the number 1 and number 2 tight end on the Giants. So the Buccaneers, because they are really good against the run, what does that mean? That means that teams throw on them. And what else does that mean? That means that teams kind of, in order to keep the secondary honest, have to do some shorter throws. And who benefits from that? The running backs and the tight ends. We've already established that the running backs are kind of a stay away spot, and I think that extends into the passing game as well, at least for me. But the tight ends against the Buccaneers have had quite consistent success this year. So the average team, their tight ends have about 6.5 catches on 8.5 targets for 55.67 yards. against the Buccaneers. The only time, only two teams have had their tight ends under 40 yards, and not a single team has gone over 88. So we're seeing very, very, very consistent receiving numbers, regardless of the team, from tight ends against the Buccaneers. Ingram, he gets quite consistent usage as it is. I mean, he hovers right around this number basically every week. So I think that he's a good look. Let's take a look at Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph is probably actually also a good look at 9.5. I mean, he's had at least a catch each of the last 6 weeks, which, I mean, on the one hand, it's a low standard. On the other hand, his receiving yard number is only 9.5. Yeah, he's gone over this number 5 times out of the 8 games he's had a catch this year. So I think that both of those are good looks, especially, again, considering the production that tight ends have and the explanation for why they have that production against the Bucs. So I think that both of those are good looks. Anybody else on the Giants that you'd like to talk about?
Not really.
Yeah, I think for me, the running backs, the health concerns make it tough, and for the wide receivers, it's just who is the guy has been so up and down across different games, so that it kind of scares me, and I don't have any reasoning, at least why I think that a certain player is the guy today.
And we have Shepard, Slayton, and Galladay too, all healthy. Are we missing?
We're missing Shepard.
Shepard, okay, Shepard's out.
Yeah, so we have a healthy Galladay, a healthy Slayton, healthy Tony as the wide receiver options.
If there was ever a due spot for a wide receiver, it'd be Galladay, but
yeah,
don't really have a lot of numbers to back that up, other than man, they've been expecting a lot more out of him this season. Haven't seen it yet. So
yeah, so actually, it's interesting. I was looking at this before. Wide receivers don't perform well against the Buccaneers. So who was the last? I mean, I guess these numbers are so low, it doesn't really matter. But the last receiver to have 60 yards against the Buccaneers was Preston Williams back in Week 5.
Wow. Wild.
It is wild.
Well,
I mean, granted, this is the Eagles and the Bears and the Saints and the Washington football team in the time since then.
But let me ask you this. Is it more that the wide receivers are across the board doing well versus one guy doing really well, if that makes sense?
It's really consistent, kind of mediocre production, kind of top to bottom. So last week, Washington, leading receivers were DeAndre Carter and Terry McLaurin, both in the mid-50s. The Saints had 4 different guys in the 30s, nobody above, nobody below. The Bears in Week 7 did absolutely nothing. Leading receiver, as far as wide receivers are concerned, was Darnell Mooney at 39, nobody else over 20. And then on the Eagles, Quez Watkins and Devontae Smith were the only receivers who caught balls, and they had 5 catches for 75 between them. 44 and 31 individually.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think people's impression of the Buccaneers pass D is really, at least for me, it's kind of defined by some of these other primetime games that we've had, where they've been in the spotlight, and we've seen the pass coverage really underperform. But I think that it has shifted a little bit in recent weeks.
I'll put it this way: if they can keep that up tonight, it's obviously not a fluke. But something tells me that one of these wide receivers is going to go over 60.
We'll see. I wonder what the odds would be on that.
Could be out there. PointsBet may have it.
All right, so let's transition over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So again, Antonio Brown is out. Rob Gronkowski, for the first time in several weeks, is back for the Bucs. We've got Cameron Brate over under 13.5. Chris Godwin over under 74.5. We've got Giovanni Bernard over under 8.5. That is birthday boy Bernard.
Birthday Bernard.
We've got Leonard Fournette over under 26.5. Mike Evans over under 67.5. OJ Howard 15.5. Gronk 33.5. Tyler Johnson 33.5.
Gronk's at 33.
I just, whenever I think of Gronk, I think of those stupid commercials that he's in now. Oh, I'm special.
USAA.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like they play the same 10 commercials over and over?
Yeah.
It's like the same.
It does. It's like you're listening to the radio.
Yeah. Yep. I don't like anything on the Bucs side.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. And the way that I always think about the Bucs is it's like, especially with these receivers, we have a good idea of how many yards more or less they're going to get combined. It's just which individuals on any given day are going to go over and under. Feels like a crapshoot to me. Like, I'd bet that if you took Godwin and Evans and Johnson and added up these numbers, the three of them combined, I'd say it'll be within 20 yards.
Yeah,
but just one of them will fly over, one of them will fly under, and one of them will be a close call.
Yeah. Or Tyler Johnson has like either like 2 yards or he has like 45, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Let's actually take a look and see what the model says here. I've been kind of neglecting to bring this up. Also, I think I have Gronk out in these six.
That's why I thought. Yeah, that's why I was assuming he was out.
We got Godwin at like 66.9, Evans at 56, and Gronk at 45, actually, which feels a little high. Although the model doesn't know that he's coming off an injury. So I think you can take 10 yards from Gronk and give them to Evans, and maybe 10 more yards from Gronk and give them to Godwin, or something like that. And then Tyler Johnson at 29, that's like basically exactly where he is. We have Leonard Fournette at 26.5. I think that's exactly what his number is. And then Bernard, we have over, which will be good for Ben's fantasy team.
Think of me tonight, guys. I need 14.5.
Yeah, that actually might be the play here. Is that Bernard over 8.5 receiving yards?
Sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, it's his birthday, so if you buy into that kind of thing, he might get some carries.
I will say Bruce Arians would be a head coach to do something like that. If you know about Bruce Arians, he's like a big players coach guy. Like he asks the players, "Hey, let's get a beer after the game." If it was Belichick, I'd be like, "Hell no!" Like he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, no,
he doesn't believe in
Belichick would like bench him for his birthday.
Who's the player who he was late 5 minutes to practice like 5 years ago, and he literally cut him on the spot?
Yeah, it was the running back, Jonas Gray.
Yeah, and people are like, come on, Bill. No,
nope. Did you hear about what happened in the NHL?
No.
Like this. So I forget exactly what the player is, but he's a prospect for the Dallas Stars. He was called up and played 2 games for them. And then they were playing in Minnesota for what would have been his 3rd game of the year. And it's like his hometown, Minneapolis. That's where he's from. So they had him do a bunch of media stuff, like some interviews and some promo stuff. And he spent all of his call-up money buying all of his family and friends tickets for the game.
Oh, no.
And you know where this is going.
Yeah.
And then after all of this, like after making him do interviews for the media about like how exciting it was going to be playing in his first hometown game, and then the coach decided to scratch him and he didn't play.
Well, I thought it was going to be even worse that he like took a nap and didn't wake up.
No,
I don't know if that's worse.
No, I think what happened is worse.
Yeah, because it's man, talk about
losing the locker room.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Like that is some shit.
That's a ooh.
Yeah. But I think that this Bernard over 8.5 is a potentially interesting look. I mean, he hasn't hit this number actually since week 5, but he has had at least a catch in each of the last 4 games.
Yeah, and they're moving away from Ronald Jones, so I think there's more opportunity.
Yeah, he got three targets last week with Jones not really seeing any action.
Yeah, and then the other backup, Vaughn. Or it's Vaughn, right? It's
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Keyshawn Vaughn, he hasn't even been seen the field, so Bernard might kind of be the third down back, and yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
actually
being super optimistic right now.
No, I legitimately like it. I want you to lose in fantasy, but
thank you.
but I think that this Bernard over is a good play.
This is gonna be so funny if he gets a touchdown, and man,
Yeah.
think about me tonight, guys. Birthday Bernard.
Birthday Bernard. That's our narrative tonight.
Yeah, the birthday narrative.
So Boston Bruins fan says, you guys doing a Thanksgiving NFL football preview? So we always do streams on Thursdays. I think for Thanksgiving, I mean, I'm definitely going to be free Thanksgiving morning. Ben may or may not be traveling or something.
Yeah, we'll see. I can't commit to it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, I'll stream by myself on Thursday morning. I think we're gonna not do Wednesday. In fact, I actually might not be available Wednesday. I have family that's gonna be in town like a couple days before Thanksgiving, which is kind of weird, but is what it is.
Oh, Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. There'll definitely be something Thursday morning.
Yeah,
I will commit right now
Discord
to streaming on Thursday morning.
Yeah, and make sure Boston Bruin and fan or whoever else join the Discord, and they can drop the link there, and that's we'll give the first.
Oh, I think the
unless
chat bot
the
is broken.
code's not working.
Why it just like randomly disconnects, unlinks the account.
It's annoying.
Every now.
It's annoying. It's like the Discord link sometimes. Like it's like I don't know. Technology.
Yeah, let me grab this.
We need that Web3, Nick.
Yeah, we do. Okay, there's the Discord link. So be sure to join that if you have not done so already. So let's take a quick peek at touchdown props. I guess, is this a 6:15 or a 6:20 kickoff?
6:15, right?
Oh, then we got 1 minute. Ben, what's your favorite play today? We hate touchdown props anyways.
What's Daniel Jones at?
So Daniel Jones passing 254.5 right now.
I'm going to go Daniel Jones over 254.5 passing yards is my best bet of the day.
And you know what I'm going to do? I was so convinced by the birthday Bernard narrative and the underlying numbers that I'm going to take Giovanni Bernard over 8.5 receiving yards as my top bet of tonight's game.
Hey, Bernard, baby. Let's go.
Birthday Bernard for Ben.
Yep.
And there you have it. So that wraps up tonight's stream. It's kickoff time. Let's go watch some football. But before we get started, those links might work, but I'm gonna block that comment. I don't want to be responsible for any issues that people have with stuff. Why can I not do anything with this comment?
Are we still on the same thing?
Yeah, somebody posted some links to stream the game. Nobody click on those.
Oh yeah. We don't condone that.
No, I've never used
yeah.
an illicit stream in my life. All right, hold on. There we go. They're gone. I should probably disable link. No, I can't disable link sharing. It could. We'll see.
You could, but
it could. Yeah. So Ben, are we starting up college basketball streams tomorrow?
That's a good question.
Yes. No. Maybe. Are we gonna wait until next week? Because we're definitely not streaming this. I guess this Saturday would work.
We could. We got to figure it out. I mean, I know Chase is going to be available one of the days, so we just need to coordinate and figure out the final structure, which I'm excited about. We're coming up with some pretty good ideas. I think the viewers are going to enjoy it. So
yeah, the college basketball streams. I mean, there's a couple of reasons why they haven't started up yet. One of the reasons is we just like to let the model get to 5+ games for each team. I think that's. I mean, it's going to really enhance the performance that we see. It will kind of reach the point that we were at last year. And the other reason is we're planning some more extensive stuff content-wise. A little bit beyond just, these are some games that we like, these are some picks that we like, this is why we like them. We think that's good content, but we also want to do more, and we want to do better content.
We're going to enhance the viewer-listener experience.
Yeah, and we want it to be a little bit more interactive as well. And we want to make sure that we have all of the mechanisms for that kind of in place before starting up. But maybe, probably very low chance for tomorrow. I have a lot of other stuff I need to get done tonight. And we're not finalized on that yet, so probably not tomorrow for a college basketball stream.
Yeah, maybe Saturday.
Yeah, maybe Saturday. Definitely not next Tuesday, because Ben and I are going to be out of town. Going to be on the East Coast. But if not this upcoming Saturday, then definitely the next Saturday, I would say, for college basketball.
Alrighty, Nick.
Yeah, it's time.
It is time. Good luck, guys. Go Tony. Go Tony. Go Jones. Go Bernard.
Yeah, go birthday Bernard for Ben's fantasy team.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll see you.
See you next time.